Hey guys, it's Lou. I'm back for another video. This is going to be a vinyl finds video. This is a combination of purchases, used vinyl from a local record store, and also some online purchases of new vinyl. So I've got about 9 or so records to show, so let's get started. So first, the record store purchases. We got the best of Procol Harum. So Procol Harum's a well-known band, great organ sound, especially on the earlier stuff, Whiter Shade of Pale. I'm a fan of this band, casual, so I think, besides this, and I think I have the Grand Hotel album, this is probably all the Procol Harum that I'm going to need, but this is a great combination, great compilation, I should say. Speaking of Procol Harum, this guy was their guitarist, I think, for only their first 2 albums. This is Robin Trower. This is a live album from Robin Trower, 1975, which includes material from his first, I believe, 3 albums, maybe first 4 albums. Wasn't really familiar with Robin Trower, but got to know him based on a later album that I'm going to show. Some work that he did with Jack Bruce from Queen. And one thing I didn't know about Robin Trower is how great of a guitarist he actually is. This guy was heavily influenced by Hendrix, and while nobody is on the level of Hendrix, there's some stuff that Robin Trower does that you hear it and you think, wow, he's really heavily influenced by Jimmy. And this album is a fantastic live album, like I said, from his probably at the height of his career, 1975. Trower is still recording and touring today, and from what I've heard, it sounds fantastic. But this is probably the peak of his record-making days and his live playing. Next, we have 4 albums that are linked by artists, and I was on a bit of a Cream kick lately, and with that also means Eric Clapton. So this is Eric Clapton, release from 1981 called Another Ticket. One of his lesser-known solo albums, but still a quite good listen. The thing with Eric Clapton is, as long as you don't compare this album to Cream and some of his more well-known records like the Derek and the Dominoes, Layla record, or even some of his bigger solo releases like 461 Ocean Boulevard or Slow Hand, on its own, as a standalone album, this is a great album. Very chill, very mild. There's still some great guitar playing on it. The vocals are very laid back. And taken on its own merits, it's quite an enjoyable listen, this release from 1981. Continuing with Clapton, we have Eric Clapton's Rainbow Concert. So obviously a live release. This is back from the early 70s. It was a concert with Eric Clapton and a bunch of his friends. I think Pete Townsend was the main catalyst to put this show together to try and help Eric out with some of the substance abuse problems he was having back in the early 70s. And there's some great songs on here, great set list. There's only 6 songs, unfortunately. I know the CD release has many more songs, and it's missing quite a few that are on the CD that are actually from the Derek and the Dominoes release, which would make it an even better release. What is on here are Little Wing is on here, Badge, which Cream did not perform live during their time. So it's a good release. It's got Presence of the Lord, the Blind Faith song, and the sound quality is not fantastic, but still it's a good record to have even in its shortened form. We have Eric's first solo album, self-titled, Eric Clapton. The well-known song from this is the J.J. Cale cover of After Midnight. It's a good release. Of course, it came again after the period of Blind Faith and Cream, and so measured up, and it came before the Derek and the Dominoes release, so measured up against those classics, it's not as good of an album, but still worthy of having. And we have a compilation, The Best of Cream. Cream only made 4 studio albums, and even on those studio albums there was some live cuts that they added to sort of, increase the length of those albums. This is a single disc, best of 10 songs. I think they did a pretty good job of selecting the songs for this. Got a couple songs from Fresh Cream, I Feel Free, and of course the classic Howlin' Wolf cover, Spoonful. You got 4 songs from what I consider to be Cream's top album, Disraeli Gears, Sunshine of Your Love, Swalaber, Tales of Brave Ulysses, and Strange Brew. 3 songs from Wheels of Fire, including the live version of Crossroads, and you got the 1 solitary song from Cream's last studio album, Cream Goodbye, of course, Badge. So I've got all the studio releases from Cream, but sometimes it's good just to put on a greatest hits where all the top songs are just piled onto 1 disc. They probably could have fit, given the album's length, another couple of songs on here, but what they did put on here is top-notch stuff, so this is good to put on. So that's it from the record store, used releases. Next I have 3 online purchases, and the first one is Bonobo, Black Sands. I was a fan of Bonobo's earlier work, Animal Magic, some of those more trippy, chill out instrumental type albums. Then when Bonobo started to add more vocalists or more vocal songs, I became less of a fan. This is more of a return to his earlier instrumental stuff. There is some vocals on here, but they're used in more of a instrument than actual, fully fledged vocal songs. Very chill, very good playing, very organic, even though it's got like a lot of sort of beats, very jazzy flavor. I think this is probably one of Bonobo's top albums in my opinion, based on what I've heard. This is a double LP, Black Sands. REM Unplugged from 1991. This is from the Out of Time period, where REM did not do a world tour, but instead they went to MTV Studios to do the Unplugged. Fantastic. One of the better Unplugged releases. I think it's up there with the Nirvana and the Eric Clapton. Covers obviously a lot of songs from the Out of Time period, but they also do a lot of older songs. Great version of Fall on Me. Perfect Circles on here from Murmur. Some great backing vocals by Mike Mills and Bill Berry, especially Mike Mills. They have the mandolin going on here. This is a great live Unplugged release. They also have another one, I believe, from the 2000s, which is pretty good too, but it's not as good as this particular one in my opinion. And last but not least, I have the joint album from Cream's Jack Bruce and, as mentioned before, Robin Trower. Wow, what can I say about this album? This is fantastic. This came out around, I think it was 2008, 2009. Wasn't familiar with it back then. I read a review of this and it described it as if, I suppose back in the day before Jimi Hendrix's death, there were some plans for Jack Bruce and Jimi Hendrix to form a band, and the review of this described, well, this would give you an idea of what that band might have sounded like. And with Robin Trower, being heavily influenced by Jimi Hendrix, this does give you that feeling. There is some great psychedelic and bluesy guitar on this, coupled with Jack Bruce's great bass lines and wailing vocals. The drummer on this is a guy named Gary Husband, who was the drummer from the band Level 42, and this is a great power trio. Funny thing about this, I would expect Jack Bruce to play some harmonica on this, but he doesn't, so it's just bass, guitar, drums. But what an album this is. And just to show you the vinyl, it's a nice marble vinyl, sort of fitting in with the motif of the cover. I don't know how well you could see this, but it's sort of a marble gray with black, similar to the cover of the Moon on the front. But I can't say enough good things about this album. And Robin Trower continues to produce albums, still playing at a high level, and it's sad about the loss of Jack Bruce. This was after the Cream reunion shows in 2005, where Jack had gotten better and was playing and singing amazingly well on this album. So guys, that's it for the video, and again, I appreciate all your comments, and thank you to those who have subscribed, and see you next time.